Venezuela for the time being, but CBS News national security analyst Jeff McCausland tells us that Washington likely has some ideas about who should take over in Caracas, namely opposition leaders Maria Machado and Mundo Gonzalez.
She and he would be the likely leaders of a next Venezuelan government. There's not a formal government in waiting, if you will, prepared to go in with all the different levels that you require for all the different social services, military, transportation, and set across the government. That will take, I think, time. And second of all, of course, what happens to the existing structure there, particularly the military, particularly the police forces? Do they fold very quickly and welcome back a new government and immediately switch their allegiance from Maduro to a new government? Or do they resist? Does someone appear from the military in particular now to try to take over the country after Maduro has been captured by the United States?
Venezuela's opposition says the rightful president is the exiled politician Edmundo Gonzalez, an ally of opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. Trump said he wasn't ready to commit to a certain leader, but pledged his administration has to remain very involved in Venezuela. The Metropolitan Police Department says it is closely monitoring the events that occurred overnight in Venezuela, and D.C. police are coordinating with local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to safeguard residents, businesses, and in the District of Columbia, and are ready to boost their presence as needed. Saying there are no known threats to D.C., the public is being reminded to stay vigilant, and if you see something, say something. Hundreds gathered outside the White House to protest the U.S. military operation in Venezuela that captured and removed Nicolas Maduro and his wife. And WTOP's Jimmy Alexander tells us the protest was organized by the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
I thought I was going to get a heart attack this morning when I watched the news because that thing makes me angry.
Vanessa King lives near the White House.
The fact that they come and tell us that our election was not good because it doesn't satisfy them. It's not for the United States government to tell them who is legit.
I'm here today because I'm reminding people that it's our money that we need to assist Venezuela. We've been doing it for a long time.
82-year-old Kathy Boylan also lives in D.C.
To kidnap the president, Maduro, and his wife, bring them to the United States for incarceration, for suffering, and they are not guilty. If anything, we are guilty of war crimes.
From outside the gates of the White House, Jimmy Alexander, WTOP News.
And coming up on WTOP, it seems efforts could be in the works to remake Lululemon's board. Traffic and weather on the way in about 30 seconds.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family, watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Michael & Son's heating tune-up for only $69.
Michael & Son.
Traffic and weather on WTOP. We're going to start with Mary DePompa in the traffic center.
Well, hey, thanks, Liz. And we're going to start off traveling in Maryland with our long-standing crash, 95 in Howard County. Expect delays to persist once you're heading northbound, somewhere after 32, hitting the brakes and stretches all the way to just before 895. They've loaded the vehicle onto the wrecker, but only 2 getting you through. Baltimore-Washington Park front of the bailout through Howard County, but expect some on and off delays heading north from Greenbelt Park through Greenbelt and even up toward 32, but on the brakes heavily passing Route 100 as people are bailing out to get around this other delay. Now, if you're southbound, you're free. There was one incident reported on the Beltway as of late, Outer Loop River Road, unfounded. 95 in Virginia, a lot of stop and go volume from Fairfax, passing Lord, even in Dale City, passing Dumfries, so Quantico, all volume with Easy Pass Express lanes going northbound. The newsroom furnished by Regency Furniture. Santa's gone and the sale is on. 50% off furniture, an extra 15% off, and 36 months no interest financing at Regency Furniture. I'm Mary DePompa. Your next traffic report is ahead in 10 minutes.
The 7 News First Alert meteorologist Mark Pena.
Clouds stick around for the rest of our Saturday, but we're staying dry at the same time. But the cold temperatures are here to stay. We're dropping to the mid-20s area-wide by tomorrow morning with calm winds. Now we do get the sunshine back in the forecast for the first Sunday of 2026 and slightly warmer temperatures. A lot of us get to the low 40s by tomorrow afternoon with light northwest winds becoming about 5 to 10 miles per hour in the morning. Clouds do thicken up, but we stay dry through tomorrow. Temperatures fall back by early Monday morning. I'm 7 News meteorologist Mark Pena in the First Alert Weather Center.
35 degrees at Reagan National Airport, also 35 at BWI Marshall, Dulles, 33 degrees. The forecast brought to you by Long Fence. Save 25% on decks, pavers, and fences. 6 months, no payment, no interest. Conditions apply. Go to longfence.com. Money news on WTOP. Here's Tom Busby.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just weeks after Lululemon CEO announced he'll step down, another bombshell at the yoga wear maker, and it could mean major disruptions at its board of directors.
This is in an effort to remake the company's board.
That's Bloomberg Equities reporter Alexandra Semenova, who says the company's founder and one of its largest shareholders, Chip Wilson, wants big changes in Lululemon and a return to the rapid growth it saw over the past few years.
Wilson had nominated 3 director candidates to the company's board. According to sources, the nominees are executives from On Running, ESPN, and Activision. So really folks that have a sense of this athletic wear type of company.
That kind of corporate shakeup before a new CEO is even named and put in place could help Lululemon update its apparel lineup and help it better compete against Nike, Adidas, Athleta, Alo Yoga, and others that have gained a big foothold in the high-end athleisure wear market. From the room, I'm Tom Busby on WTOP.
And coming up on Double, we continue to follow breaking news, and a former Justice Department prosecutor weighs in on this morning's capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife in a U.S. military operation, and they have since arrived in New York. It is 5:11.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Hi, I'm Katie DePaula from Long Home Products. For nearly 80 years, Long has been a trusted name built on reliability, value, and quality. We believe in doing things the right way, the long way. That's why we've partnered with WTOP for over a decade. WTOP listeners know they can count on Long Home Products for the highest quality roofing, windows, and baths. We've helped families just like yours create beautiful, safe, and comfortable homes, and our commitment to excellence has stood the test of. If you're looking to join a winning team, Long Home Products is looking for you. Experienced professional, ready to kickstart your career, or know someone who is, we have openings in sales, production, customer service, and more. Join a fast-growing company with competitive pay and benefits and make a difference in the lives of homeowners. Visit longhomeproducts.com/careers to learn more. And remember, business owners, if you want to build a legacy and reach a loyal and engaged audience, WTOP can help attract customers to your business too. Go to WTOP.com/advertise.
When news happens in the DMV, you'll hear about it here, on air.
At WTOP.com, on our socials.
Or wherever you are with the free WTOP app.
Watch,
read,
listen.
WTOP. News happens here.
It's 5:14. I'm Liz Anderson. Thanks so much for being with us. The United States has captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife time for the military operation. Maduro and his wife have arrived in New York. President Trump says both will face criminal charges. The United Nations and China have condemned the strike, citing violations of international law. Trump has dismissed criticism for not consulting Congress. Joe Moreno, a former national security prosecutor and a former Army JAG, joined us earlier to talk about the charges brought against the Maduro and his wife by the U.S. as a foreign country.
Unlike the news of extraction, which of course just happened, the indictment is actually about 5 years old. These charges were brought and sealed back in 2020. And so we're finding out about them now because they've been unsealed, and they include things like narcotics trafficking, possession of automatic weapons, conspiracy to possess automatic weapons, and so forth. So it's the kinds of charges you would see against a drug kingpin. It's not really terrorism, they're not war crimes. These are what you would expect if you were going after a purveyor of illegal narcotics. What I think is so is that not only was the military used, but this person who's the subject of the indictment also happens to be the head of a foreign state.
Yes, in that case, this kind of echoes the U.S. invasion of Panama that led to the seizure of its leader, Manuel Noriega, in 1990. What can you say about the legality of the military action in Venezuela itself?
Very controversial, right? I think you're going to hear arguments on both sides, and there's going to be good arguments on both sides, both for and against the legality of this operation. It's very controversial to use the military for law enforcement purposes. It's one thing when they're in a more passive support role, right? They provide intelligence, they provide air cover, or they provide drone coverage for forces like the FBI or the DEA, that's who we think of in terms of law enforcement. It's another thing to use the military for direct action against a criminal defendant, whether it's extraction, whether it's detention, transport, that sort of thing. And so you're going to hear from both sides. You're going to hear on the one side that this was law enforcement and the military wasn't purely a support role. On the other side, you're going to hear, no, this was the use of the military in a foreign jurisdiction against an installed foreign head of state. Now, whether he was legitimate or not is almost beside the point. There's lots of dictators out there across the world, and we don't just go plucking them out of their countries. So you're going to hear things like the War Powers Act reference, whether Congress should have been notified ahead of time. And of course, now it's going to be, what's the legality of the military remaining in Venezuela going forward? Because we have not heard a lot of information about the plan, about what actually happens now.
That was Joe Moreno, a former national security prosecutor and a former Army JAG.
When news happens in the DMV, which is all the time, we cover it.
And we cover it by going wherever it's happening.
Then we stay with the story to keep you up to date.
Reporting live from Tyson's.
Reporting live from Silver Spring, Washington's only 24-hour local news source.
WTOP. News happens here.
A quick look at the top stories we're working on at WTOP. President Trump says the U.S. captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and they have arrived in New York to face prosecution. No visible signs yet that the U.S. is running Venezuela, as Trump claims the county security forces are controlling key sites. And Venezuela's vice president demands the U.S. free Maduro and calls him the country's rightful leader during a speech. Keep it here for full details on these stories in the minutes ahead. It is 5:18. To Mary DePompa in the traffic center.
Hey, thanks, Liz. And to Maryland we go. 95 has been a sore spot for just about an hour. Now heading north through Howard County, getting past Elkridge. All lanes open. They cleared the crash, but delays remain. That holds true for the bailout through Howard County, traveling on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. If you're traveling southbound passing 32 on the Parkway, it's also delayed, and northbound slows out of Greenbelt Park to get through Greenbelt. No apparent reason, just volume reported. That's the case around the Beltway. There'll be pockets of volume. The only thing currently reported is the inner loop of the Beltway, Forestville, passing Route 4, Pennsylvania Avenue, exit 11. Watch for response. There's said to be some type of debris spill. Crossing the Potomac into Virginia, 95. A lot of travelers riding south out of Fairfax County through Lorton, across the Purple Heart Bridge at the Occoquan. Unclear if they can see the crash below on Furnace Road, which that roadway is closed with a lot of equipment on Furnace Road with a crash underneath of 95. But the Easy Pass Express lane's also pointing northbound So that puts a lot of strain if you're in the southbound direction. Sponsored by Compassion International. It's not too late. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year for a sponsor. You could end their wait today. Sponsor a child with compassion. Text the word radio to 83393. I'm Mary DePompa. Your next traffic report ahead in 10 minutes.
To 7 News First Alert meteorologist Mark Pena.
Tracking a calm weather pattern to start the year 2026 around the DMV with cloudy skies in the forecast for the rest of our Saturday, but cold temperatures. A lot of us wake up to the mid-20s by early tomorrow morning, but a quick moving weather maker will bring some clear skies by tomorrow afternoon, which means sunshine and slightly warmer temperatures. A lot of us get to the low 40s by tomorrow afternoon with northwest winds coming in at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now we'll cloud up again by tomorrow night, but stay cold. Temperatures fall to the 20s area-wide by early Monday morning, and Monday starts the warm-up. We'll be in the low to mid-40s, which is pretty close to average with cloudy skies and south winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those south winds will continue throughout much of next week, bringing us to the low 50s by Tuesday with cloud cover, and by Wednesday we could be getting close to 60 degrees across many neighborhoods with partly sunny skies, and eventually we will be tracking the chance at a few rain showers to bring in the latter half of next week, but with temperatures well above freezing not only during the day but even at night. As temperatures only fall to the mid-40s, it will be just liquid precipitation. I'm 7 News meteorologist Mark Pena in the First Alert Weather Center.
34 degrees in Fort Belvoir, also 34 in Silver Spring, 35 at Foggy Bottom. Brought to you by Len the Plumber Heating and Air. Trusted same-day service 7 days a week. Coming up on WTOP, we continue to follow today's top story, the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. And we'll hear from our national security correspondent, JJ Green, in about a minute. More news in about 60 seconds.
This is Ronnie Mervis. At Mervis Diamond Importers, we're proud of our reputation as the leading diamond firm in DC. Our success formula is very simple. It's built in quality diamonds and great value. However, that's not enough. Radio communication is a critical component. That's why we rely on WTOP News to broadcast the message far and wide. WTOP reaches a huge number of adults. It's why we choose them as our marketing partner. WTOP talks to the decision makers who make up the fabric of DC. Mervis has a unique advantage. With more diamonds, superior quality, and the most value, no one else comes close. WTOP spells out the benefits to the world. If your business has an advantage to broadcast, say it through TOP. No one else reaches more affluent listeners than WTOP. When you're eager to celebrate a special occasion with the sparkle of a fabulous diamond, visit Mervis Diamond Importers. We're at 800 Per Love or online at mervisdiamond.com. Again, that's 800 Per Love or mervisdiamond.com.
WTOP.
News
happens
here.
.22, and we continue our coverage on the U.S. extracting Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife from the country. The couple has now arrived at a New York military base where they will face charges brought forward by the Justice Department. There are major questions being raised regarding certain details of the operation and whether or not it was legal. WTOP national security correspondent JJ Green joined us earlier to talk about how other countries are reacting to the news.
There are several countries that have spoken up about this already. There's Colombia that's spoken up already. There's also Brazil. There's also Russia, Chile, numerous others, and I've heard quite a bit from Europe today as well about this. The bottom line, the group that I mentioned, Brazil, Colombia, and Chile, and of course others in that region, they're not happy about this because of what it suggests to them is possible. But at the same time, Russia has spoken up as well, and they recognize as well too what that means for them, what it could mean for them as well. So there's been quite a bit of international reaction, and that too is mixed.
Some members of Congress have come forward saying they had no idea about the attack before it happened. Trump said the United States will now run the country following Maduro's capture.
We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. Had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen.
He claimed the American presence was already in place, although there are no immediate signs that the U.S. is running the country. It's 5:23 now to health news. Flu cases are surging across the country. Experts are warning with the recent holiday season and fewer people getting flu vaccinations, along with a new influenza strain. This could be a miserable flu season. WTOP's Dan Ronan.
As a result of the big jump in flu cases just before Christmas, the Maryland medical system, the officials now require people visiting patients to wear masks while in contact with them, especially It's mostly for type A influenza. Dan Roman, WTOP News.
A history-making jockey has died at the age of 77.
Diane Crump, the first female jockey to ride in the Kentucky Derby, died this week. She was 77 years old. Her daughter says she died Thursday in hospice care in Virginia, 3 months after being diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer. Churchill Downs says Crump will be forever respected and fondly remembered in horse racing lore. Crump made history in the Derby in 1970, but it would be 14 more years before another woman rode in the iconic race. Crump won 228 races before her final race in 1998, a month before her 50th birthday. In 1969, she became the first woman to ride professionally in a horse race. Allison Key, CBS News.
Sports on WTOP brought to you by Amentum, delivering advanced solutions for space and defense. Here is Frank Hanrahan.
We got some NFL going on right now. Tampa Bay leading Carolina 10-7. That's in the second quarter. If Carolina wins, they win the NFC South and automatic bid into the NFL playoffs. Bucks, if they win, they got to get some help from the Saints against the Falcons tomorrow. Got a good one in the NFC. Number 1 seed up for grabs tonight. San Francisco hosting Seattle. That is it.
By U.S. forces onto Venezuela comes after a months-long pressure campaign that has seen the Coast Guard seize Venezuelan oil tankers and bomb Venezuelan boats suspected of drug running. Maduro and his wife are now in New York, where they will face prosecution. President Trump says the U.S. will now run Venezuela following Maduro's capture.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious. That's what we're all about.
CBS News military analyst Jeff McCausland tells WTOP there are pressing questions about who rules Venezuela next.
Now the question is, of course, what happens next? Is there some effort to approach the Venezuelan military to try to stabilize things quickly with things descend in chaos? Is there an effort perhaps to form a new government under Mrs. Machado, who recently got the Nobel Prize, and Mr. Gonzalez, who actually won the last election in Venezuela? Those will be the questions that need to be answered in the next couple of days if we are to bring this crisis hopefully to a quick conclusion and try to establish some level of security in Venezuela.
Trump said he wasn't ready to commit to a certain leader, but pledged his administration has to remain very involved in Venezuela. Coming up after traffic and weather, Rosé is looking to become the wine for all occasions. And then Venezuelan expats in Florida are celebrating the capture of President Nicolas Maduro. It's 5:36.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend, we'll give it to you straight. A friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig-speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save with a Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Several homes in the suburb of Northwood had the most beautiful landscape.
Such perfection.
The neighbor responsible, retiree Arvin Tree.
You reminded me of Mr. Rogers.
But Arvin hid a dark secret.
Arvin's message was, I have a key to get you to heaven. My mom took me to this house, and then I never lived with her again.
Gardens of Evil, Inside the Zion Society Cult, is the new season of the award-winning podcast American Nightmares. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts.
What does VA mean to me?
A place for my daughter to call home. Thanks to the VA Home Loan.
A new lease on life. The
fix it. The crash that was, they stopped traffic, they cleaned up any debris, and they pushed everything to the right shoulder. So as we say, all lanes open, delays remain. The 95 crash cleared, gone through Elkridge, but the bailouts remain on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway through Anne Arundel County, getting past 100. Now southbound slows near 32. Any day that ends in a Y, no incidents have been reported there. On 97, as you travel northbound off of 50 and working toward the Hawkins Road overpass, first report of a wreck. We know there's a slowdown, haven't seen it firsthand. We're flipping the coin into Virginia. 95 has pockets of volume south out of Fairfax County into Prince William County, but south, the Dale City Rest area partially blocked that ramp, causing an extra delay with Easy Pass Express going north. Just hoping the right applicants find your job? Sponsor it on Indeed and match the quality talent. Start at Indeed.com/credit. Again, that's Indeed.com/credit. I'm Mary DePomper, your next report in 10 minutes.
Now to the PJ Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Weather Desk. For your home's windows, siding, doors, and bath, trust PJ.com. Here's 7 News First Alert meteorologist Mark Pena.
Skies stay mostly cloudy through the rest of our Saturday, but we're staying dry at the same time. You might run into maybe a few sprinkles or some flurries if you travel south on I-95 towards southern Virginia and the Carolinas, but other than that, we're staying dry and cold. Temperatures fall to the mid-20s area-wide by tomorrow morning with calm winds overnight. We do get the sunshine back in the forecast for the first Sunday of 2026. Temperatures slightly warmer in the afternoon. Will be in the low 40s with light northwest winds becoming 5 to 10 miles per hour early tomorrow morning. I'm 7 News meteorologist Mark Pena in the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 34 degrees in Georgetown, 33 degrees in Bowie, 33 degrees in Leesburg. Money News on WTOP. Here's Andrew O'Day.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Across the world, many people brought in the new year with a glass of wine. And for a rising number, that wine was rosé.
We have to remove the formalities. We have to make wine fun again.
Bonnie Burston is founder and CEO of Fett Wine Company, which has been trying to break out what a lot of people think of when they think of the typical rosé drinker.
A lot of brands ran after that sort of Real Housewives sort of scenario. But what we're seeing is we're really opening up the umbrella and bringing everyone into the fold.
And Burston does mean everyone.
We're going to bring in more men, more people of color.
And perhaps the biggest challenge.
A lot of young consumers are not choosing to drink alcoholic beverages, but they're looking and they're consuming with intention.
That means sellers need to move away from fads and gimmicks and give customers something different, an experience.
What's in the bottle is really about how you connect with consumers. So we're meeting consumers where they are. That's anywhere from a pizza place to a $100 plate dinner.
Or a turn with the calendar. From the Bloomberg Newsroom, I'm Andrew O'Day on WTOP.
It is 5:41, and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has arrived in New York after he and his wife were captured overnight and flown out of the country during a U.S. military operation. This follows months of escalating Trump administration pressure on the oil-rich South American nation. President Trump told reporters today that the U.S. before the time being would ruled out one notable person to potentially leave the country.
He did not endorse the opposition government, essentially, that's been waiting, including Corina Machado, the woman who won that Nobel Peace Prize late last year, saying she doesn't necessarily have the support. That's notable, too, because she, of course, went so far to credit him for that Peace Prize and was crediting him for pushing for these changes.
That's CBS's Ed O'Keefe, and the operation also targeted military sites in and around the capital, Caracas, with U.S. military helicopters seen overhead after months of increased U.S. activity in the region. Luis Valdez has family in Venezuela, family he hasn't seen since 2011. During a celebration in Doral, Florida, Valdez says he thinks this is the moment for the Venezuelan people to dictate how their country is governed.
I know that people are going to use the opportunity to rise up and to show their force, and especially now that the Maduro regime has been literally decapitated, I don't feel that they're going to have the same strength and force that they had before.
President Trump said in Florida this morning that the U.S. would run Venezuela for the time being. 15,000 U.S. military personnel were already in the Caribbean, and the U.S. military has been striking vessels that it claimed were trafficking drugs. Closer to home, it looks like any other drone you might picture, and it arrives on the scene of emergencies faster than most police. WTOP Scott Gelman tells us Fairfax County's police chief is describing it as the 2026 difference maker.